Staying on with more news from Israel, there is trouble that continues to mount for the beleaguered Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu in the latest setback at home. The Israeli Supreme Court has now struck down a controversial law that was passed by Netanyahu's administration. Now, on Monday, the Supreme Court ruled with a margin of 8-7 in favor of striking down a very contentious and a controversial law that had sparked nationwide protests for several months. The new legislation that was passed by the Israeli far-right-wing government of Netanyahu had weakened the judicial powers of the Supreme Court. The provision had struck down on the Supreme Court's ability to quash certain government decisions. The law was in fact part of a judicial overhaul which led to massive protests across Israel. For 39 weeks, thousands of Israelis in fact took to the streets every Saturday, protesting against Netanyahu's move to weaken the judicial system that critics fear would severely undermine Israel's democratic institutions. The Prime Minister's party has also called the Supreme Court's decision to strike down a provision of the judicial overhaul as quote-unquote the opposition to the nation's desire for unity, especially in a time of war. Now, Israel's Justice Minister also slammed the verdict, accusing the top court of quote-unquote taking into their hands all their powers. Now, the court ruling has come as a major setback for Benjamin Netanyahu, as the leader is currently in the middle of a corruption trial. The proceedings had earlier paused after the deadly 7th of October attack, but the trial resumed on the 4th of December. Netanyahu faces a slew of charges, very serious ones, including the likes of fraud, bribery and breach of trust, in 3 separate cases that were filed back in 2019. With the Supreme Court thwarting Netanyahu government's attempts to dilute judicial power, there still remain some serious concerns over how the simmering constitutional crisis plays out for Israel's longest-serving Prime Minister so far.
אנחנו במלחמה על קיומנו.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.